Hey guys, welcome to Ultra Illusionist Showcase. So today I'm just going to be kind of showing off the skills and traits of Ultra Illusionist. So first off, how you actually get Ultra Illusionist. You need to have 60 Orderly in the Illusionist super class, and then you have to make it to Castle Sanctuary, and then you have to do, I would argue, probably one of the hardest quests in the entire game, where you have to survive off max insanities for 3 hours, and then you have to get 8 Orderly, which you can just do by doing beggar quest and turn up quest. You could do those twice, and then you actually would be fine. But yeah. So after you do that, you get your skills. It's 350 per skill. I'm 95% sure there's 5 skills, so 1,750 silver for all the skills, and then 400 for the armor. The armor gives you a bonus HP and Scholar's Boon and some actually HP regen, which is very nice. So yeah, I'm gonna be showing it off. Personally, if you don't have like Ignis or Virvis, like very basic spells, you're gonna want that because the Ultra Illusionist spells on their own, you aren't like if you only use those, if your opponent is not chaotic, if they're orderly, it's pretty much impossible to kill them with only Ultra Illusionist skills. But if they are chaotic, yeah, globus. And that reminds me, so the passives. Passive, you get God Observe block, which I think is one of the best passives in the game when you're just trying to play the game and you're not, well, at least not for a PvP aspect, because the issue with Observe is that someone can easily just gank you or find where you are. And the thing about Super Illusionist that sucks is someone can just observe you and then just attack you. So with Observe Block, you can see and not be seen. And if you can find a really good hiding spot, you're basically golden, and it's pretty useful for ganks and stuff because you can observe other people, but yet you can't be observed. So when you're escaping, they won't know. So yeah, the other passive is you get Snap Trickstus, and then also Snap Hystericus. So Snap Trickstus, it just makes you not able to see people around you, and Snap Hystericus just inverts your controls for 2 seconds. In my opinion, Snap Hystericus is just very mediocre because it's only 2 seconds. You would have to really get some decent mileage out of it because for 10 seconds on your cooldown, you can use your other snaps. But if you just use Hystericus, you have to wait basically 8 seconds after Hystericus' effect wears off to actually use another snap. So yeah, and Snap Trickstus, I would say, is very mediocre. I feel like it's just very situational. I would really not recommend using it that often. Granted, it has its upsides and downsides, but for the most part, it's not that great. So anyways, let's get on with the skills. First one, globus. This is probably the second most infamous move with Ultra Illusionist. If you're chaotic, Pong. You just take a heavy amount of damage. Like, I would say, it's really hard to dictate, but for a freshie, my freshie's taken, like, what? Let's see how much hits it takes. Because I'm assuming that this is going to be 5. Yeah, 6 hits. But it was basically 5 and 1 punch. Like, that's just how, like, broken Globus is. Now, the con to Globus is if they're orderly, it doesn't do anything. So you just lose, basically. You can't use Globus. So the second skill is Dominus. Dominus will do is if a player is chaotic, it'll just make them, well, it'll make them run around and punch if they're below orderly, if they're like 0 or below. I think it might be -1 and below, I'm not sure. But as you saw, if they're not chaotic, they just stand still. So what you can do is you can just and it has a 20-second cooldown. You could just do that, and then you could get like a full sword MB1 combo. What I like to do is I like to snap the Seer someone, because when you snap the Seer someone, you basically get that off, and then you could just easily Ignis someone after snapping the Seer. Usually someone will get 2 injuries, but if you do it twice, you basically guarantee to break their leg, unless if there's room. And if someone breaks a leg, they have to drink a bone growth, or else they pretty much lose because they have no ability. That's personally why I really like Savannah here, because you can't charge your mana in Dominus, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you cannot actually charge your mana, so you could just snap this here and then and then just Ignis. So that way, when they get out, they just get flung away, and then you can carry on with your day. So yeah, it's actually really decent. The next spell, I think the final one actually, is intermission. Intermission is kind of a utility in my opinion, because all it does is it just gives insanity besides the level 1 insanity, which is just little whispers. But if you do this 5 times, it's max insanities. And it's really fun with Nasire, because you can get max insanities, max injuries, and it's always fun to do that. It's not very useful, but when someone's down, like here, let me just down real quick. When someone's down, you can use it, so you can just go intermission, target it, but yeah, you can just do it to the down player. I'm not pulling it off. But yeah, normally, at least, in most cases, you can do it to a down player, and I mean, you could just give them insanities. In an actual fight, it's extremely useless, because 5 seconds, good luck getting 5 seconds. But if you do manage to get it, and they do get Cliffo mode, it's basically GG's. Doesn't work on Dizins or other Illusionists, because it's a spell of the mind. Same with Trixtus and Dominus. So you can't Dominus to Dizin or other Illusionists, which is kind of annoying. But honestly, this class, I would argue, is one of the more brain dead classes, just because of how it works. So personally, for snaps, I mean, really kind of whatever suits you. Personally, I like Nasire just because I can Dominus into Nasire, and I don't know why, but I'd rather have someone get a leg injury or just more injuries than deal damage. But if there's more than one person, like if you're a ganker, I would much more recommend Snap Ignis, because it's more of an area of effect or something like that. Also, when you Dominus someone, you can just like set up Sigitas, and then when they get out of it, you can just Ignis and then bam. I personally would just my I'll call it tip for Dominus is, if you have Tomeless, you can just use a full action surge combo, and yeah, it's pretty strong. Personally, like, I mean, your hotbar, I would just not have globus too high up, because if they can't be globus, that spell is completely useless, and globus can hit your housemates, so you have to be extremely cautious with it. But yeah, and also I forgot to mention Hystericus. You can only use that as an Ultra Illusionist, and it inverts your controls. I'm not going to go over the controls. Those are on the wiki, just because there's so many, and it's very time consuming. But basically, if you have Shrieker Summoning, usually people don't know the controls for Hystericus, so you can just hit him with Hystericus. And it looks like a strong combo, but in reality, it's just, if you don't know your stuff, you die for it. So that's why I recommend you just need to really know block for for Hystericus. Because if you can block, then you can't get killed by the Shriekers. But yeah, otherwise than that, I think that wraps it up pretty well. In my opinion and in my experiences, Ultra Illusionist, at least without God spells, is just is a very, I would say, the best support class, only because you can just observe anyone, and you can't be seen. So if you have like a really good spot, like for example, hang on, let me show my spot real quick. Personally, I would recommend this spot in Royal Woods, which it's pretty secluded, but basically, that's gate. Horse falls over there. You just run on top of the trees over here, wedge yourself in this tree. Pretty much nobody's gonna find you. It would be very rare for someone to find you. Then you could just go observe on your day and go like Alex, you know. And yeah, honestly, I think that's the best spot for it. So yeah. that's going to wrap up this video. Please like and subscribe. If you have any comments, just comment down below. I will most likely respond, as I don't get many comments anyways. So yeah, otherwise than that, have a great day.